So we all know that Uber had to lay off employees and they were trying to cut costs because of how much ridership is down across the board. And they still have to not only try to turn a profit, but appease its investors as well. So just before their earnings statement came out last week, they also made sure that they were going to lay off around 14% of its staff, with more likely cuts coming in the near future. But how they did it is really crazy, and that's what we're going to be talking about right now. Hey everyone, Chris here from Real Rideshare Stories. If you're new to the channel and you're looking for different things within the rideshare industry, whether it's updates to what's going on, news, tips and tricks for passengers and drivers, or what happens on real rideshare rides, start now by hitting that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. Also make sure to check the description below for other helpful information and tips. So yes, Uber laid off several thousand employees this last week because they are trying to cut costs, and it was just before the earnings report to try to help make investors happy and help boost the stock a little bit, which it did. And some of the craziness behind it is that they had to lay off such a large portion of their employees. So they actually fired and laid off over 3,500 employees via a Zoom conference call. That's right, a Zoom conference call. So right here is that 3-minute Zoom conference call that Daily Mail was able to get. And a link will be in the description below. So if you want to check out the article as well as this video, then you absolutely can. But this is going to show you exactly what happened and how they did it. So here we go.
For the foreseeable future, our business will be smaller as fewer people are taking trips, and our size will have to be rationalized based on business need. Right now, the rides business is down by more than half due to COVID-19. With trip volume down,
at least we know exactly what they're talking about. They say by half. Now, there's been other reports that have come out that said it has been more than that, where they have shown some that have dropped upwards of 90% or more in some markets. So yeah, it's been affecting it all over the place, and you're seeing on the minimal side saying minimum of 50%, where it's probably higher. All over the board, it's probably about 70% from a lot of the things that I've been hearing, and some of the reports that Uber has actually come out and said when it comes to its reports, when it's talking to the SEC or just putting out notices for its investors and things like that. So still quite a bit.
the difficult and unfortunate reality is there is not enough work for many frontline customer support employees. As a result, we are eliminating 3,500 frontline customer support roles. Your role is impacted, and today will be your last working day with Uber. You will remain on payroll until the date noticed in your severance package. I know that this is incredibly hard to hear. No one wants to be on a call like this. With everyone remote and a change of this magnitude, we had to do this in a way that allowed us to tell you as quickly as possible so that you did not hear it from the rumor mill. I also wanted to deliver this news personally and just take a brief moment to thank you for your contributions to Uber. I know that this is a lot to take in. I'm going to turn it over shortly to HR, who is going to talk through the next steps and what this means for you. There's no need to take notes. You will receive a follow-up email from HR. Camilla?
So as Robin mentioned, you will receive an email from HR, and there will be details around your severance package, such as information on your benefits, your outplacement services, and other important information. So when you receive this email from HR, make sure you do two things. Number one, update your personal information in Workday so we can reach you out for further details. And number two, forward this information to your personal email address. We will be cutting off system access shortly, within 1 hour from this webinar.
I know that you are all feeling many emotions right now. This decision was an incredibly difficult one to make, as we know how many lives are affected. We're going to do everything we can to support you. You can reach us. You will also get this information in your follow-up email. Thank you again, thank you for your contributions to Uber.
Thank you, everyone. And we're closing this call now.
So again, this video was brought by Daily Mail, who originally posted that video, and it is titled, "Today Will Be Your Last Working Day with Uber. Watch as a choked up executive tells 3,500 rideshare employees they are being laid off effective immediately over a 3-minute Zoom call." So if you want to check this out, again, I will leave a link in the description below so you can read the article as well as watch the video itself. Now, going down into the article itself, they are talking about how it's been devastated by the pandemic, and a company filing Wednesday revealed 3,700 roles will be cut from its global workforce, which is 14% of its almost 27,000 employees at that time. So the cuts are made among customer support and recruiting teams, so driver number will be largely unaffected. Drivers, again, are still considered independent contractors pretty much everywhere. California, though, we talked about how there was a lawsuit already where they have misclassified drivers. So that will be playing out over the next foreseeable future to see what is going on, at least there. But what the company is expecting to incur is about $20 million in costs for severance and related charges, the filing revealed. And a former Uber employee who asked to remain anonymous slammed the company for laying off so many people on a Zoom call for the lack of notice as well. So they said that it was a 3,700 person live Zoom call. It was controlled. I would prefer to have had notice. The day before, we were told we would know in 2 weeks what departments would be let go. So they gave no notice. If you missed the Zoom call, you would have missed the news. We knew they didn't have the drivers' backs, but they didn't have anyone's backs. So that's a startling revelation when it comes down to it right here. It says, they gave us no notice. If I missed that Zoom call, I would have missed the news. We knew they didn't have the drivers' backs, but they don't have anyone's backs. And that's said right there. Now, that is a disgruntled employee because they were just laid off. So yeah, I understand their anger and things towards that and when the emotions are running high. But that is pretty true right there. We know they don't have drivers' backs. So if they ever put anything out there in drivers' interest, it's really because it's in Uber's interest. And I have a video coming out very soon about something like that when it comes to this whole health insurance that they're trying to push, because we all know it's not in drivers' interest, it's in Uber's interest to talk about that. But that video is not this one, so I'm not going to go on about that. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. So the employee continued, they sent us severance and stuff, but they're not telling us anything. It's worldwide, but there were like 50 people laid off in the office. They were going based on a lottery, like a Russian roulette. The severance package is generous, but they're treating us like they treat drivers, she continued, referring to Uber's less than stellar reputation in fairly compensating their independent contractors. Again, they're saying right here it's generous, but they're treating us like they treat the drivers. So you can see that there's a huge disconnect when it comes to drivers and the employees, or I should say the upper executive employees at Uber when it comes down to it. And so it says Uber is doing unemployment claims for people they've laid off. She said, they taught us how to do that stuff, and the next day they fired us. Apparently someone at the CEO level leaked that this was going to happen, so they expedited it. And that was exactly true because news articles were picking up that they were expecting to lay off thousands of workers. So they say they're still not done getting rid of people. The way they've gone about it is very negative. She said, Uber has empathy training and they teach us to be sympathetic to other people's needs, but they're not practicing what they preach. Right now, we're all getting a severance, but they can change their mind on that if they want to. Uber has been decimated by COVID lockdown with far fewer people booking rides as they stay home. And the company posted a net loss of $2.9 billion on Thursday. And it was announced it was implementing a hiring freeze as well as cutting thousands of jobs from its corporate workforce. So again, that just goes to show you how disconnected Uber executives are when it comes to not only its driving force, who are the people who continue to go out there and operate. And if they just decided, hey, we're going to turn the app off, whether it's Uber and the ride sharing side, or if it's Uber Eats and the delivery side, if everybody just shut it off, they wouldn't make any money and no drivers would be driving for them. So they have a huge disconnect when it comes to that, but they also have a major disconnect when it comes to their own internal organization, and that comes to its own employees, as that one employee or ex-employee had alluded to. Now, what's your thoughts on this? Comment below, let me know. Now, that's the end of this video. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell for notifications so you'll be notified every time a new video is uploaded. Also, make sure to check the description below for other helpful information and tips. And as always, never drink and drive. Always tip your drivers, your delivery drivers, and your shoppers. And we'll see you next time.